Yes, I just need to give you a high five for this. Well done, you.
No, thank you.
We worked so well together.
Yeah.
This,
So that was the first step, was cleaning up the marketing, because the challenge with 8 agents is there's 8 different marketing strategies.
today I'm chatting to Gabriel from Surdo Prop. He's joining us today to talk about something so exciting. I'm so excited. We worked on this case together recently. I think we've come like a month a long way from the start of it and to fruition now. Yes, I just need to give you a high five for this. Well done, you.
No, thank you.
We worked so well together.
Yeah.
The synergy was incredible. There were times that I was at a low point, I'm not going to lie. And Gabriel came through with a positive energy. He was like, I love this. He says to me, and we message each other like every day. So, because it's quite a sensitive case, right? And we were messaging each other, and I was like, Gabriel, I'm not sure if I can get this over the line. There were so many challenges. I was so anxious. And Gabriel would come through and he would say to me, no tough match had an easy ending. And these words, not many people will say to people in the professional industry. They'll just, okay, let's just run with whatever's going to happen. But that can-do spirit that you have, Gabriel, is incredible. It's actually pivotal to us as bond originators, I feel, to get things going, So I just want to say thank you to you. So incredible. So I want to go back, right? Track back a little bit, because we are smiling here today because of that victory. But I want to go back a little bit, and I want to start at the beginning. So tell me a bit about the property, because I know that was a challenge in itself.
Yeah.
And securing that mandate, the history behind that with your seller. I'd love to unpack that. Please.
Sure. Well, thanks, and thanks for this opportunity to tell the story, because there's always a story behind every transaction, and that's what I really love about what I do, is each story is different and you never know what's going to happen. So that property it's a magnificent property. It's one of the biggest properties I've ever sold. It's 490 square meters under roof. It's a 6-bedroom house. And the thing that I found the biggest challenge in the property market is just trust. I actually stay one road away from this property, and it had been on the market with no less than 8 agents at one time. So it was on the market for 2 years. Initially, in the beginning, the seller listed it themselves at a really high price. Again, not trusting the market and not being in a rush at that stage to want to sell. So that then transpired into the agents knocking on the door, the area agents knocking on the door, and every agent had a go at selling that property. And I sat there looking at that, and it's not a good strategy for any seller to go with. Pick one agent, listen to what the agent's saying, if you trust the agent. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to. 60% of what a seller's going to decide on is in trust. Do they trust the agent? So I approached the seller to inquire about, are you keen to sell? When would you like to sell? I'm your neighbor. I know the area quite well, and we are starting to pick up a lot of buyers in the area. So it's 60% trust. It's around 20 to 30% in fee as well.
Yes.
Oh no, sorry, it's the other way. 60% in trust. Negotiation. Your skill in negotiating is 20 to 30%. And then the last little bit is fee. So I use those three to, obviously trust is the first hurdle. So showing that you can do the job. I'd sold properties in and around that area. I'd listed new properties in the area. I was a neighbor in the area. I've known the area really well for a few years. So the trust was there. That was quite easy to establish. And then I did use a discounted fee to win the seller's ear and further trust. And then, of course, being an ex-attorney, my negotiation skills are really good. I pride myself on that, and be able to softly speak to buyers and gently speak to sellers to give them the market stats and what's happening. And good, honest, transparent feedback always gets you ahead at the end of the day, as opposed to promises that you can't deliver on.
Yeah.
So I had approached the seller to say to him, look, you're not selling. You've been with 8 agents for 2 years.
2 years, Gabriel.
And it's a great property.
And
It's
8
490.
agents.
I just have to get my mind over this, like 2 years and 8 agents.
And all the big names as well, and a few smaller names. So I approached the agent, winning over the seller, winning over the trust, offering a really good fee, and he elected to go on a 3-month exclusive mandate. So that was the first step, was cleaning up the marketing, because the challenge with 8 agents is there's 8 different marketing strategies out there and different information, sometimes different pricing. And as a buyer myself, when I was buying, I would always just scroll past that. I wouldn't engage. I mean, which agent do you even choose?
It's too much. It's overload.
Yeah, so I mean, we've got enough information being thrown at us from all corners nowadays.
Exactly.
So that was the first step, was to clean that up. And I actually got approached by an agent who was he was one of the 8 from a big name when I'd secured that mandate, and he had quite a go at me for offering a discounted fee, which a bigger agency couldn't offer. They have, because they split half between agent and half between agency, generally speaking.
Yes.
He was quite perturbed that I'd done that, but I didn't do that to cut anyone out. I did that because I knew that was that was in the best interest of the seller. And I mean, here we stand speaking about a successful case, so it's evidently
worked.
It evidently worked.
Yes, the proof is in the pudding.
The proof is in the pudding. I'd taken a couple of buyers through there. I mean, it's a really attractive home, close to good southern suburb schools. There's a lot of space. There's maybe a little bit too much space. And the buyers who you helped secure a beautiful bond on at a great rate, the first contact I actually had from them was, hi, I've looked at this property. Please take them a 5.5 million rand offer.
Oof, cheeky.
I didn't even met the guy yet. It is cheeky, of course. And I think if you're going to see a property that's been on the market for 2 years, and I would never lie about that fact, even though my listing was a newer listing, I would tell people that the seller's been on for 2 years. That is the honest truth. There's no need to conceal that. So naturally a buyer's going to put in a cheeky offer because they think that, well, the seller's very keen to sell. They're desperate. Yeah.
Yes.
So I said to him, look, I'm happy to take that offer. Well, I'm not happy. I will take that offer, but you need to view the property first. And I met with them, and immediately I knew it was the right property for them. It's a 6-bedroom house, 490 squares under roof. There's 3 bedrooms and a downstairs guest suite in the old wing, and then there's 2 upstairs bedrooms. So it's a little bit of a disjointed home. But for them, they've got 4 kids.
Yes, and the mom and the dad. And yes, so they needed a kind of a separate area as well. So that's fine. That worked out perfectly.
Tick, 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 guest suite for the mom, 3 beds downstairs for the 3 girls, and then the little boy would be upstairs next to his parents. They had recently just moved to the area from Durban, so they didn't need to sell anything. And they're quite busy as well, so they needed someone they could trust as well. And they viewed, and I didn't hear from them for a while. I had put them onto you, and we had run things through the processes to ascertain if they could afford it, and we ascertained that they could, so therefore I could take a further conversation and a slight nudge, because I knew it was good for them. It wasn't a hard sell. I wasn't putting a square through a circle. It was a circle through a circle. And given that they were so busy with 4 kids, I can't imagine how they actually hold on to their thinking and their brains. But I did advise them, if we are to have a go, and this is where you really, really helped, is that by qualifying them, and they were quite unique, he was full-time employed, she had just started a business, and it stuck with me what you said, and this shows why pre-approvals are so necessary, because had we not pre-approved them, we may have lost that opportunity.
That's right.
To unpack everything from the start before putting pen to paper.
Sure.
Yeah, I love that diligent approach. Yes. I love that diligent approach about you, by the way, is that you are not in too huge of a rush to get the pen to paper. And that, I think, is a great way to, assure buyers that, let's make the right decision here. Let's go through all the motions, and you also trust your trust in me is also solid because you like, this is going to be done diligently. I mean, you've seen the pre-approvals out there, Gabriel. These online pre-approvals that are out there, people are,
The automated.
yes, yes. And it's horrific to see the comeback of those, after an official application goes in. So that pre-approval was, the process of the pre-approval, I love that you take the time to advise your buyers about that process.
Else you're wasting time. Essentially, and there is a lot of that in the market, buyers just wanting to view out of interest, neighbors just wanting to view.
Yes.
So, I mean, if someone was dead set on viewing a property, I would take them through, but they'd have to show me their credentials. And in Sweden
Love that.
and in Europe, you actually can't even view a property without showing your agent the pre-approval. And we need to work towards that in our market to clean up the credibility. And this is why I think a lot of sellers don't have the trust in agents, is that there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation.
Yes. It's just
Show maybe people are coming through the door. There's foot traffic, so I'm working, I'm doing this, but let's also not disrupt the sellers, in terms of the schedule maybe, and let's get the right people through the door.
We're only here for a finite amount of time, and to waste someone's time, it's a cardinal sin in my family, and I got that from my dad, is to waste someone's time is an absolute sin. And the previous agent who had a go at me, he actually brought the seller an offer, which was a decent offer on paper, but it was a foreigner and there was no pre-approval. So immediately the property was marked under offer. I wish the seller congrats. We had other buyers who could have viewed. My immediate reaction is to wish the seller congrats. They've been on for 2 years. What a lovely moment for them.
Of course.
That deal fell to the wayside.
You're so gracious, Gabriel. I love that.
A rising tide lifts all boats. So the fact that my neighbor sells, that's good for my properties. One less
that
property
vision.
off the market.
What a powerful vision.
Sure.
To have.
It's one
That's
less property off
incredible.
the market. The next one I list will be easier to sell because there's not competing.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, if you look at what's happening in Durban and Joburg, there's a lot of stock that's accumulated, and that's not good. There's a lot of boats in that harbour that aren't moving out, whereas, boats are changing hands quite quickly in Cape Town, which is good, and long may that last, especially with Thursday's decision. Yeah, hopefully a decent cut there, probably 0.25, hopefully. And the previous agent, big name brand, had brought a dud offer in essence. I mean, he wanted to believe in it, but he should have taken the time to pre-approve. And if the pre-approval didn't come out, don't plug the deal in and don't mark it under offer.
Right.
Because what's the point of that? It's a pointless exercise. And
Yes.
and I think competing with 7 other agents also caused them to rush and force the deal through.
Yes.
And that's,
That
my word.
panic and pandemonium kind of.
Yeah,
sets in.
quickly, let's just sign.
Yes.
No, it's fine. We'll get the bond over the line. Yeah. We'll get it. And the foreigner couldn't get the bond. So they wasted a bit of time. But that kind of played in my favor because, he wasn't going to go back to that agent and give him an exclusive just because he gave him a dud deal. So it was a whole combination of factors. And I always liken it to a game of chess. It's a big game of chess. And some games of chess last 2-3 moves. And this was a long game of chess. And it's just really nice to sit down at the end of the day and talk about a successful outcome from the sellers, because to leave your property on the market for 2 years is a tiresome exercise. 8 photographers through there, 8 agents through there, various different buyers through there. It's a lot to go into a person's home.
That's 100%. And for you, I have to just say kudos, because you came in and you were brave enough to approach this on that onset, because anyone else, I'm just being human here, would have thought, oh, these guys are exhausted, the chips are down, it's game out. But like I said, your can-do spirit, your positive mindset, so that's what brought that's what brought the success story.
Well, also spending the time with them, and we work for free, until there's a solid, secured deal. And it's a lot to move family and life around and believe in someone, and that's what we do. And back to being optimistic, it's so important in what we do to look after your mental and physical health, because that is ultimately what buoys you through the tougher moments. And I mean, I take a lot of sympathy for other agents who are starting out early in the game. It's a lot to go through. I've been there. I've had my highest highs in real estate, and I've had my lowest lows. And the challenge is to remain as consistent as possible and not not put your happiness in each deal. If you lose the deal, that's fine. There will be other properties, there will be other buyers.
Yes.
But, you know, we all need to
Yes.
earn a living and eat and
Yes.
feed our families.
Yes.
So it is challenging for agents trying to make it out there and split fees with agencies where they maybe don't have the backing or the support that they should have. So that's what we're trying to build at Surdo Properties. We're trying to build a brand that commands buyers and sellers' attention through the quality that we put out there in terms of our content, as well as what we do for the community, as opposed to forcing down the sale. It's really not my style. I did approach the seller because I could see he was a keen seller, and I offered him a deal and he accepted it, and it's worked out in his benefit, my benefit, the buyer's benefit at the end of the day. Because of the reduced commission,
As well.
they were able to get it at a
Everybody's-
better price, because their
Yes.
price with me is a different price with another agent at
And we were
sometimes
able-
double the commission.
Yes.
And we were able to negotiate that nicely as well. So, Gabriel, there's a lot of people coming into the market at the moment in terms of estate agencies, and for you, your journey has been challenging, I can imagine, because also you've moved from a big branded, outfit, coming into your own space. Navigating that is hard. It's a difficult journey to navigate. I'd like to know, for those that are looking to come into the industry and start with being an estate agent and building a career as an estate agent, and to actually taste a bit of your success. Because just from my view, you are a successful estate agent, and I'm always astounded by the successes that I am witnessing. So it's very inspiring, and we'd love for you to maybe just give us a little bit of a success recipe, or how would you mentor someone that's coming into this world.
There's no right or wrong in property. There is absolutely no right or wrong. How I do something is very different to how Seif would do something, how Pam Golding, how Grief, how Sotheby's would do something. So that must be disclaimed up front. There is no right or wrong formula or recipe. It's what suits you as the person. So I think the first bit of advice that I would give anyone looking to come into the industry, or maybe who's just started, is make sure the brand you are working with, because you need to serve your time under a brand as a candidate property practitioner. Make sure the brand you are working with, which will be, that brand will come from the people who serve that brand as well. So your seniors and your managers, make sure that's a right fit for you.
Yes.
That is crucial. And it's difficult to know if something's right for you without trying it, but do your homework. Reach out to other agents on LinkedIn to speak to them about it. Just pop them questions.
Yes.
LinkedIn is a fantastic resource, a free resource, and you can connect with anyone pretty easily.
Yeah.
So make sure that you do your homework around brand, because at the end of the day, you are going out there as an extension of that brand, in your own brand. So if your brand is not synergetic with the brand you represent, you're going to lose interest in that brand, and you're probably not going to represent that brand as well as you should. So I was at a really good national brand for 3 years, and I enjoyed my time there. It was right for me at that stage of my life. I needed that. And after a while, I felt like I had outgrown that brand. I'd put a post up on LinkedIn, which was quite a loosely worded post, and it was speaking to the rental market, and our landlords should feel bolstered by the fact that interest rates are rising, therefore put your rentals up. I felt like I was an advocate for sellers. And I got reached out to by my manager, who got told by the head of sales to tell me to take that post down. And that just left such a bad taste in my mouth. It may not have been directly in line with the dictionary of that brand, but I was an extension of that brand, and I took quite a lot of offense that I was being told to keep my mouth closed. I'm not good at being told to keep my mouth closed. My nickname growing up was Mouth. So that's my advice, is make sure the brand is right for you. And I think if you are at a brand that's not right for you, use that brand and leverage that brand to create your own brand. And that's what I had done pretty well at my previous agency that I served. When I realized the brand wasn't for me, I took the stance that I was going to use that as a springboard to my own venture one day. I hadn't decided on a set date or time, but that was my goal. And my brand came along to me. I'd gone to an agency to help me develop the brand, and I'd spent a lot of time on brand. And I think a lot of agencies out there are missing that, and that's their problem. It's my benefit. But the brand for me is so powerful now. Surdo means deaf in Portuguese. We use the benefits of deaf gains to empower ourselves to be better listeners, to be better observers, to be better servers. And it's also a personal journey for me because I wasn't a good listener growing up. And not listening as well as I should have also resulted in my daughter being deaf for longer than what she should have been. Deaf is beautiful, and we are grateful that she's deaf. But it's a way of me healing the past, and a regret that I wake up with every day is that I didn't listen sooner to doctors to help my daughter better. So Surdo for me is a very, very, very personal brand. And I find when I tell people my brand story, they lean in. And that's ultimately what you want the brand to do. You want the brand to capture people's attention, to live in their hearts and in their mind, and to be easily translatable to various areas of the industry you're in.
Yes.
So, yeah, if you're a young agent out there and you're at a brand that's not for you, move brands once you're ready to move brands. But also start your own brand. You are a brand. We are our own brands nowadays. I mean, that was why I was so attracted to you. I'd been approached by, from a professional perspective, I'd been approached by so many bond originators, and there is synergetic relationships, and certain big firms have formal relationship with other big agencies, and I needed to find something that fitted our brand, so that when I'm out there in the field selling you, I feel it. And I've always been it's authentic. I've always been a natural salesman. Example, I only did accounting for 1 year during my BCom law. But for the following year, I'd struck such a nice relationship with my extra accounting teacher that I said to him on a whim, why don't I try get you more students? You're brilliant. You just don't have the students you should. And I went out the following year and I advertised all over campus. I would put flyers on the chair before the next accounting classes. I'll never forget, he actually told me to stop advertising because he had so many students. And this was his full-time job, was just extra accounting lessons. And he went from, I think that year I was with him, he turned over about 200,000 Rand. The year I advertised for him, he was at 500,000 in a blink. And I agreed with him a little percentage. I initially said to maybe 100 Rand per student.
Chop and year at Spirit, eh?
But it's about believing in the people that you work with.
That's it. I love that.
I love helping people who are good at what they do, and I'm a mouth for them.
It's like
You are spreading something so good because you can't keep it to yourself. Like, everybody's got to know, guys, this dude is doing amazing at accounting. Like, you just can't, it just bubbles over. I do.
He just didn't have the personality or the time to go out there and get other people. And that's where I came in. And that was probably the start of my sales journey. And I mean, I've sold alcohol, I've sold cars, I've sold extra accounting lessons.
I would have never thought that was on your CV. So that's fantastic.
It's just about believing in the people that are around you as well. And when I heard about your guys' brand story, I was sold. The personal aspects of it. I knew you were good on the analytical side because we had chatted about a few matters. And each time we deal with the matter, I'm blown away at your guys' acumen. So there's that, which there's a lot of bond originators who have that acumen. It's the brand that's got to tie in with that, because people do business with people they like.
That's it. Yes.
And agents are one in a dozen. I mean, we are all over town.
We have to fit
we have to like working with a person. We also we working with a person on a daily, throughout our day, So I just light up. I showed Gina your messages, and I'm like, Gina, it's Gabriel. Look at all this.
I'm genuinely enthused that you are able to help my business. I'm able to help your business, and by doing so, we're ultimately helping our families. And that's what my brand is about: is helping more than just my seller, just my buyer. It's about helping the community, about listening. The / in our brand is omnipotent. It's anything we want it to be, as opposed to, hi, I'm the agent, I'm here to sell. We're not here just to sell. We're here to craft an experience, a story, and we're here to get a great result for our sellers.
Yes.
If we're representing buyers, which we do about 30% of our business, then we're here to represent the buyer, listen to the buyer, and find the buyer what they are after at a good price.
Yes.
And in order to do that, you can't be competing with other agents. You've got to collaborate with other agents. And that's where I think a lot of the brands go wrong. They operate in these silos. And when I was at my previous company, I was the only one who would do shared deals with other agents, because I would take the buyer around and share in those agents' comms. Why? Because I had the buyer. It was already half of the transaction.
Done.
The bigger brands don't operate like that. They want you to get the sole mandate.
Close-minded.
It is closed-minded, and we have a smallish market. I mean, Cape Town is growing every day, but that to me is something that's opened my eyes a lot, is being able to collaborate and learn from other more experienced agents. And the agents that I've met and collaborated with, I learn a bit from each and every single agent, where they're older than me and younger than me.
You're open to that learning. You're open to growing and sharpening yourself.
Sure.
You know, and I think that's what also sets you apart.
It's an important thing, because if we're constantly thinking, oh, what I'm doing, this is it, you know, this copy paste,
Yeah.
you know, you're sort of very rigid to a business approach. You need to be open-minded. You need to be, you know, almost absorbing like a sponge every day and taking it all in, you know.
Yeah, because you're only as good as your last deal as well. So you can tell the whole world about how much you've sold. I've sold R1 billion, but it actually doesn't matter. It's about what you do next for the next seller, for the next buyer, for the next community you operate in. So, you know, my final words to any young agent is that be open to collaboration. Do not see the other agency as your competitor. We are all in the same industry together. And because our suburbs are quite small in Cape Town, you're going to cross paths. So the sooner you're able to collaborate with other agents, and this is something that the whole market in South Africa should take heed of, is collaborate with each other. Do not fight each other. And I'd asked a lady who sat opposite me in my previous company, this big name agency, I'd said to her immediately, do you share with other? We don't share. And I just thought like, but I've got the buyer, I could phone the seller, you know, the other agent.
Yes.
But I think that's where the brands have gone wrong in the estate agency world in South Africa. And that's fine. That's how they want to represent their brand. My brand is very different. Our brand is very different in that we listen to what the market needs. If I had that mentality, I wouldn't have done all my buyers' deals, because those weren't through stock I had. It was through stock other agents had. And it was at the point in their mandates that they were open to share with me.
Guys, this has been such an amazing time with you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Gabriel, thank you for making the time today. You know, we just want to shout it out loud from the rooftops. Gabriel from Surdo Prop, please get in touch with him. He is doing phenomenal things in this industry, and you're going to rock it. I know it, and I'm so glad and so privileged to be a part of this synergy. So thank you so much.